highway patrol jurisdiction. I don't know if any of my colleagues know that or not, and I don't know exactly how many officers highway patrol is able to allow there, what you do as backup, but certainly the Redwood Empire Fair is covered by highway patrol during their fair time.
And Tom, I got one other issue. I'm actually, some of my constituents ask me, sometimes when you see a patrol deputies out there, you see one patrolman and one patrol officer in a car, and other times you see two patrol officers' car. What is your policy on that? It seems to me, why is there two patrol officers?
Well, it could be for several reasons. If it's a call to Covelo, it wouldn't be unusual, because you're in the 3rd District, it wouldn't be unusual if there was a call to have both deputies get in the same car for the purpose of saving mileage and for the officer safety, especially at nighttime. As far as in other areas, it wouldn't be unusual to have a training officer in the car as well as a new deputy, and that's a very extended 15-week process for that training to take place.
But it's not really a policy to have two patrol deputies in a patrol car.
No, that's up to the sergeant's discretion. We, in some situations, with the high mileage cars that we've had to take several out of service, and there have been times where we do not have enough cars for our deputy sheriffs.
Yeah, my concern is, in just, not toward any type of business, whether it's the sheriff's office, if you have two people doing their shift in a patrol car, and then they go off shift, and then something happens late at that night, then one of those two are going to have to go back out on overtime. Where if there was just one in a patrol car and another one was at home, then the other one would be called out at night that wasn't on duty, so there would be no overtime involved.
Well, very rarely, Supervisor, do we have one deputy on patrol in the north part of the county or on the coast. And
no, I'm not talking. I'm not actually. I was thinking about here in the valley, the north end of the valley.
In Ukiah Valley?
Well, I was watching an incident that happened a couple of weeks ago when there was 3 patrol cars showed up, and 2 of the patrol cars, it was 7 o'clock in the evening, and 2 of them had 2 deputies in it, and the 3rd car had 1 deputy in it.
Well, if it was 7 o'clock, that tells me that it was shift change, and I don't know what the call was.
It was a teenager driving on a suspended license.
Well, I don't know what the call was. I mean, I wasn't there, and I'd have to research it.
I just was curious.
I'm going to guess we did not have 7 deputies at a teenager driving on a suspended license.
No, it was 5. It was
5.
3 cars, 2. But there were 2 patrol deputies in 2 of the cars. Several of people there was making a comment, why is there 2?
Understand, and everything, as we know, and I appreciate you bringing me back full circle here of asset seizure, because our asset seizure, Johnny, has purchased the digital recorders we have in our cars. And so when people call me and say, I'd like to know more about this incident, it's very easy for us to go back and look at the footage from the camera and see exactly what happened, because I can't either agree or disagree with you that it was a teenager driving on a suspended license. I don't know the circumstances. I don't know if it was called in that there was a person with a gun. I don't know if it was called in as a suspected drunk driver. I don't know. And I'm not going to second guess my deputies, but I will go back and review the tapes if later on you can give me the specifics on it.
Well, it was just, it was just an issue. Several people made the comment in tight budget times, is it necessary to have 2? And I don't have no facts of whether it was a training officer or with it's just that it's
right.
It kind of.
But Supervisor, I would encourage you when these come up to call me immediately, and you have my cell phone number,
Tom,
because I want to get back.
I'm not in the business of trying to operate your functions.
But you are in the business of questioning me, and I have no problem with that.
My constituents' concerns. It is a concern of people in tight budget times when they see, people doubled up. And
Johnny, your constituents are my constituents,
yeah.
and if they ask you, I want you to ask me, or I'd like for you to ask them to ask me, because I have no problem getting the truth of the matter.
Well, I'm not going to run out there in the middle of 5 deputies and start writing down what are you guys doing and everything.
They know who you are.
Some of them do. Supervisor Brown.
Yes, I think Supervisor McCowan, okay, thank you. I would like to congratulate you very much. I know it's taken a lot for everyone during these difficult budget times, but loaning an administrator to human resources, taking over the animal control officers, your driver's education program. I really appreciate, you know, stepping up
Thank you.
and helping out in those areas. But to carry us forward, I think we have several issues. One is the resident deputies in Covelo that the sheriff has asked us about. Animal control officers, there's 2 of those. He did ask us a question about Redwood Empire Fair. I'm not sure of all the logistics, but I responded to that, and I'm not sure about the county fair. Now, there were, 4 questions that you asked us?
Well, and as well as our correctional staff right now is down 10%, and it is causing us overtime, and we are prepared to fill those positions, at least two of the correctional deputy positions immediately, if that's the board's direction. I understand Supervisor Smith's comments on that, and I'll take that to light, but I don't want to hire willy-nilly if there's going to be layoffs. I have a commitment to the employees that we hire and employees that we train. And if we're going to hire them now and send them a pink slip in August, I just as soon not hire them now.
Then I need to understand, as a new supervisor, the process. And I guess I refer to county council or our CEO about hiring freeze and...
Allison?
Allison, okay.
Allison Glass, the Assistant CEO. The process would be when you've questioned the department heads sufficiently and you've got the information that you can from that, I do have a series of steps of things that you can kind of walk through, consider, and give direction on. And then I think what will come out of that is that some of the things you will say yes to, some of the things you will say no to, and some of the things you'll say come back. What we need out of this is the direction of what we will bring back to you on March 17th for specific actions. I think your ability to take action on HHSA's proposal this morning was because of the groundwork that was laid for that. We're now laying groundwork for some decision-making that, if you so choose, would then happen probably on March 17th. So I think you should definitely talk with the sheriff and ask whatever questions you want, and then, you know, I can list options. You may think of other options, and you can give direction on that.
Well, Allison, what we're doing here today is, you know, what you're talking about is direction probably on going forward to the 9-10 budget. What we're talking about here today, is what the sheriff specifically asked us for, is basically approval of the Covelo deputy's position, approval of 1 or 2 animal control officers, and approval of the hiring of 2 correction deputies. That's what he needs.
Right.
You know, because presently, right now, under our process we have set up, we have a hiring freeze in place.
Yeah.
So I think, let me proceed here. This board needs to give clear direction to our CEO's office of how we want to proceed on that, and then we can move into any and all. But I think we need to focus in on these decisions right now, and then we'll move forward with any other direction. But we need to move this along.
Okay, if I could just state, I was talking about direction specific to 2008, 2009, and what the sheriff is talking about. I think it needs to be seen in the context of the other choices and decisions that have been made. I'm not talking about the 2009.
Well, that's what we're talking about. I mean, the sheriff is requesting, he wants to hire some positions now, and it's going to affect your 2008-9 budget, this budget we're in. Of course, it'll also have the ramifications in the following budget year, too. But we need to, it's time for this board to make a decision one way or the other. Supervisor McCowan?
Well, Mr. Chair, first I have a question. I do assume you've been keeping a tally, and at this point, how much more savings do we have to realize for the 08-09 budget?
Well, that's exactly what I was hoping would be the next steps in the conversation.
Okay, so then before we get there, I do have a